Are you struggling to make sales? Have you heard some of the crazy things people say? All the million different reasons they describe why you're not selling as much as you want. But magically, if you for $4.99 or like whatever their thing is, whatever course they're selling, they can fix it all, right? Unfortunately, that's not how this works. But there are three things that every single offer, it needs to happen in order to sell and to scale, right? To actually get this where you want it to be. So that is what we're going to talk about today. Is what are those actual three things? The only three things that can actually go wrong and how to fix it, right? And how do we even identify what is affecting you? So, oh, sorry. It looks like I'm having a few challenges with the live. So stick with me here. Say hi. Filler time. Dun, 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 dun. Let me know that you are here with me today and where you are watching from. Because we've got YouTube, we've got LinkedIn, we've got all kinds of folks joining us this evening. So say hi. What platform and where are you located? So there we go. Save. All right. And now we can actually do this the real way. All right. Oh, Colleen, hello from Facebook. I appreciate you, Colleen. Okay. I don't know why everything's all right. Here we go. The only three things that could be wrong that can hold you back from making sales. The only three things. All right. So we're going to go through what these three things are. And then how can you identify if they are affecting you and your business and what you're trying to do? And you can tell my dog is here with me. Clearly, this is Rex. And how to fix it. Okay, so all the good, important, wonderful things. And for the live today, I'll show this one. Here we go. Comment star if you want access to our podcast Guest to Star course. This actually teaches you how to be a memorable podcast guest and actually sell through podcast guesting. So you want access to that, make sure the Colleen from Ohio, if you don't have that yet, make sure that you comment star and we'll get that over to you. Rex says it's amazing, right? Yeah, she does. So, and then the second, if at any time tonight you're watching this, you're like, this is helpful, but I need more help, no problem. We can totally chat and see how we can help you out. That's exactly what we do. So let's dive in. What are the actual three things that will stop you? The actual three things that are preventing you from making sales right now. The first, and this is super important, and I don't want you to roll your eyes because you might think, oh, I got that. But 90% of the clients that we work with need this fixed and corrected. No matter how many times they've done it or thought they've done it or whatever, they still need it fixed to be successful. This is number one, your messaging. Okay. If your messaging is off, you will not sell. If people don't hear about what you do, see the value in it, understand how it can improve their lives, and feel like it's worth it, that they're willing to pay for it, that you're speaking directly to their needs and how you can transform their situation. If that stuff isn't happening, people aren't going to buy. Period. They're just not going to buy. So messaging is something that you need to take time. You need to do research. You need to go through the process up front to make sure that it's really dialed in. And then you're going to start talking to people. It's you get a really good starting point, and then you continue to build on that over time. Because I'll tell you, the best messaging that Todd and I have ever created in our business always comes from when we put together his marketing genius and my feedback from talking to all of y'all, everyone who's in our target audience. When I talk to you, whether I'm selling or not, right? When we're having a conversation, I'm completely taking in what you're saying and how you are saying it. What is the language that you're using? So, do you feel like you've got, are you saying that you have trouble with your messaging? Are you saying that? Well, probably not, unless you're a little more advanced. Um, you might even know what messaging is, right? These other things that we're going to talk about here shortly, absolutely, people do not use the same terminology depending on where they are, what stage they're at. Okay. So understanding what's the vocabulary they're using, how are they describing the problem, speaking to how they describe the problem when you offer your solution. Like there's a lot of different layers to this, but here are some signs that your messaging needs to be dialed in. If you are actually having sales conversations with people and you're not closing them, if you're not closing them, if you're driving traffic to a landing page, a freebie or whatever, but people actually aren't opting in, getting on your email list, or they're getting on your email list, but that's all they ever do, and you never get them to take that next step, messaging might be part of that problem. There's other pieces we're going to talk about too, but messaging, if you're not hitting home with people, if they don't hear it, understand how you can transform their life and what that inherent value is to them for that transformation, you're really not going to be creating success. Like you will forever struggle. If people don't see what you have and want and see the value in purchasing it, I don't care all the fancy stuff you want to do. This high finagled, really crazy funnel or whatever. None of that matters if people don't want to purchase. So yeah, there's that, right? So make sure that you're setting this up for success. Make sure that you've got your message dialed in. I would love to hear Colleen and Mike and everybody who's watching tonight or on the replay. I would love to hear, what is your message? Like, and this boils down to message isn't like one statement. It's much bigger, but give it to us. Lay it down on for us. I can too many meetings today. So who do you help? What do you help them to achieve? Okay, start with that. Who do you help and what do you help them to achieve? That's so important. So important. If your messaging is off, honestly, it's something to absolutely work with a coach on. It's something that we spend a lot of time with our clients with. And we've helped correct and help them to understand even more deeply and fix what other coaches have helped them to do. Unfortunately. But so I do suggest you work with someone on this. If you know that your messaging is off or that it's not landing right, time to take a look at this. So absolutely doing that. You nailed it. Messaging is my problem. Okay. So my messaging, it must be solved. You need to have conversations with people who are looking for what you have to offer. Market research stuff, like not trying to be sleazy or anything, but really having conversations, going to networking meetings, connecting with people who are your target audience, and really understanding what they're looking for. What are their pain points? What are their struggles? What are their goals that they're seeking? The more conversations you can have, the better. A really good help for this is having a Facebook group. If you're welcoming people into your Facebook group, you've got a community of people to ask. You can do polls. You can ask things on the entry questions when people are joining. There's all kinds of options here. So, but you need market research to help you put it together, and then a coach to help guide you to make sure it's sharp enough, it's niche down, but it's not too niche, like all of these things. So that is number one problem, messaging. Okay, so let's imagine your messaging is right on point. When you talk to someone, they're absolutely buying. That's not the problem. Well, let's look at number two then. The second element, or the thing that may be broken, may need to be fixed, is your sales systems. What do I mean by sales systems? You can say funnel. I think sometimes people think of funnel too narrowly and they look at it as like a page, like a ClickFunnels page or a Go High Level page. That's part of a funnel, but your funnel is a bigger concept than this, right? Your sales process is like generating a lead, nurturing and qualifying that lead. That might be through emails, that might be through getting them in your Facebook group, through text messages, whatever that is, through more content, nurturing, qualifying. What's that qualification process look like? How is that happening? And then moving them into a sales call where you close them on a call. Maybe there's some additional qualification process or nurturing or whatever that happens right before the call they have to go through. Maybe you get them into a live webinar, an automated webinar, a challenge, something like that. So what is that system? If you don't have a process to move people to generate the lead first, and then to systematically move that lead closer and closer to a sale, you will struggle to make sales. Period. You're going to be living off referrals or word of mouth. And that's really a challenging way to run your business. So I would absolutely make sure you've got a process. And if you don't know if you have a process, then take like a whiteboard or a pen and paper and just kind of map it out. What does it look like? Think about the customer journey, right? What does that look like for someone? How are they finding you? And then what is each step of the process that they're having that moves them to a sale? What would that actually look like? Map that out so that you really understand what is this and where your gaps are, because you need to look at every step of the process. And with how do you know if you have a sales system process, a sales system problem, I should say, and it needs to be fixed? Well, if you are actually getting in front of plenty of people, so you're getting people's attention, but you're not actually generating leads. What do I mean by generating leads? Collecting name, email, potentially phone number. So by doing that, right? If you're getting their attention and you're not actually getting them to opt in for anything, that's a red flag that something's wrong with your system or process. So something's wrong. Are you offering a lead magnet? If you're offering a lead magnet and you've got the technical elements set up, but no one opts in for the lead magnet, well, that's a combination of maybe the systems and messaging if they're not actually interested in it, or it's not juicy enough for them to opt into. Right? Because your messaging will now thread through all other aspects of this process. So, if they're not opting into a lead magnet, if they're opting into the first part of the lead magnet, but they're not going to any step number 2, you have a massive drop off, or they're responding to a Facebook ad, but when they get to the landing page, they're not opting in. Well, there's something broken or something that needs to be optimized on that landing page. We've literally seen people who've done that and oh no, it's not working, when it looked and they just set it up wrong. And so they weren't being sent to the right page. And so it didn't make sense when people clicked on it. And so clearly they weren't opting in. So what is that step? What is that process, that funnel to move them, generate the lead, nurture, qualify them, move them through to a sale? What is the sales mechanism? If you have, something $200 or less, then you could have a VSL, a video sales letter, on a page with a sales copy and stuff on there. And that could do the selling for you. If you're $200 to maybe $1,500, then you're probably going to want to instead do a sales webinar. And this is where you put together a live webinar, then you can maybe automate it later, where that is what's selling it, right? If you put a $997 course out on a page, most people will not buy that unless they have a really strong referral from someone. Those are the people that would buy it, is just really strong referrals, where someone else sold them already on it. So you don't have to do the selling. But you, as a business owner, should have a process for selling it. So in that price range, you would do a webinar. 1,500 to 2,000 and above, you're talking a sales call. Can you do a webinar? Yes, but it's easier to do sales calls, especially if you're getting started. And then once you have a flood of amazing testimonials, then you could go back and maybe put together a webinar and test that instead. Okay. So absolutely have some sort of process that sells them. Expecting people to go through a checkout page and purchase is a fail. Like that's a big fail. Like don't do that. You're going to lose out on so many people that would be willing to purchase if you had took the effort to actually sell them, move them through this process. So absolutely need a sales system. Things that you may need to refine in your sales system. So it could be your landing page copy. It could be your nurture content or process. How are you nurturing them? You might need to fix or work through how you're qualifying people to get them to a sales call. You may also need to work on your sales process. How do you actually close them once they're on a call? Any of those potential things could be breaks or problems. So you need to look at that and say, okay, where's my process breaking? Am I taking a bunch of sales calls, but I'm only closing like 10%? That's a problem, right? If you're getting word of mouth, you should be at like 80, 90%. If you're generating traffic in other ways, maybe about 25 to 50%. So, but what is that like? We need to identify what part of the system, what part of the sales process is the gap. Where's the bottleneck? What's holding you back? And then you attack that, fix that, and then you look at the rest of the system. And then you look for the next bottleneck and fix that and refine this process to get it really dialed in. So Mike says, I have a funnel, but getting prospects to the funnel is not working. Well, that's a perfect lead in, Mike, for the third thing. Number 3. The third thing is your traffic. Now, if you're like, I kind of get it, but I don't use that term, so I'm a little unclear. Traffic just means people's attention. Now, this may be you if you've heard yourself saying, I just need to get in front of the right people. I need to reach enough more people. And I hear those terms and those phrases all the time. And it's because they don't have traffic. They don't have people's attention. Traffic, if you think about it, if you want to understand this from more of a brick and mortar perspective, because it's the same online, but from a brick and mortar, you can take 2 McDonald's, one in the middle of a desert with no roads even to it, and the other is in the middle of Times Square. Which one's going to produce more revenue? The one in Times Square. Do they have different offerings? No. Same offerings, same prices, same messaging, all that stuff, same sales system, right? How they're selling is exactly the same. However, one has 0 traffic and one has tons of traffic. Traffic is one of the number 1 problems you will always have to solve in your business. It is the biggest challenge for the vast majority of people who are not selling. Now, your messaging, your systems, that's more of like project work that you do one time, and then you just kind of continue to add to it and tweak it over time. Your traffic is something you always have to be managing and working on forever, because you need people's attention to fill that sales pipeline. If you aren't getting sales out of the back end, it means you're not putting enough people in the front end. So you need to generate more traffic. So what are some ways to do this? Okay. Podcast guesting, just like the giveaway. So, comment star in the comments and we'll get you access to that digital course, teaching you how to sell through podcast guesting. So that's one way to do it. That's where you're borrowing other people's audiences. Summits, being a speaker on a summit, that's a great way to sell as well. Get ready to get traffic, which then if you've got a good sales process and pipeline, can feed down into a sale. Paid ads. Absolutely. Todd and I have made millions on paid ads, point blank. So we like paid ads. Looking at organic content on your social media, on YouTube, podcasting, your own podcast. All of those content strategies, you do them because you want traffic. The whole purpose of it is to get people's attention. SEO, do blogging on your website with SEO and then maybe sharing it to Pinterest, that sort of thing. That is a great way to generate traffic, right? So, but traffic is a requirement. If people don't know who you are, they clearly aren't going to be buying from you. So you have to get yourself known. You have to get yourself exposed to people. So exposure traffic, right? So that's podcast guesting, that's paid traffic, that's social media content, that's networking. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but the entire thing, guys, is getting people's attention. If you have enough traffic, you've got a good message, and you've got a good sales system, the sky's the limit on what you can do with that. Scale as much as you want. It really only boils down to those three things. So I would love to hear. Okay, Mike says, I'm working on writing my own VSL and doing videos on different platforms, short form videos. Short form videos are awesome. Great way to get exposed to new people. So you can even be testing, Mike, some of the verbiage and the messaging of the VSL. See what resonates the most by putting it out on a TikTok, or a reel or a short or something that provides some more traffic than normal, and seeing what is getting people's attention, what's getting people to view longer, any of those sorts of things. Because that's going to tell you that message is resonating, and that's a good thing like to use in your VSL. So you can definitely play with that. So yes, now, so I had the dog before, guys, and now the cat just jumped in my lap. And we're at Animal House. No, we have 2 dogs and 1 cat. So I guess we're not crazy, but it's enough. So, okay, those 3 things are it. That's all you really need to crush this, to just scale as high as you want. If you don't have all 3 of those things, though, usually you'll be missing just one of them. You could be doing 0. You need all 3 of those things. So if you need help, more details, Mike says, beautiful. Thank you. I do need a coach someday when I can afford it. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Getting a coach to help with all of this makes a world of difference. It's one of the most painful things that I see people struggle for a very long time because they get stuck in this. I can't afford a coach. I can't afford to get the help that I need to get somewhere. But they have so they can't fix the problem, but they don't have the means to fix the problem, but they still have this big goal that they're working to. And so they end up just working really hard for a really long time and not going anywhere with it. In those cases, in those situations, I honestly tell people to pump the brakes, look at other ways to generate revenue. If that's, driving Uber Eats or something, if that's doing Instacart, if that's getting a part-time job, if that's whatever that is, some freelance work, something to be able to supplement things to allow you to save up or to just increase that monthly revenue enough that you can get the help that you need to get unstuck. Because it's so painful to see folks struggle for so long. So many people that I talk to are years into this process and really don't have consistent sales coming in at all. So please don't let that be you. Get help. It's worth it. So yes, pets help us live longer and healthier lives. Yes, they do, Colleen. Absolutely. But be honest, the cat kind of annoys me, but my little puppy is my she's my heart. She's just an adorable little thing. She's not a puppy anymore. She's 2, but the big guy is pretty sweet. The big one you saw tonight, but the little girl is my little baby. She's adorable. So, okay. Those 3 things, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you in this process? Do you have all 3 and you're scaling really successfully? Are you missing one of them or are you missing part of one of them? Let me know in the comments. We can actually turn that into an entirely another training for next week. So have a blessed rest of your week. I'll see y'all on next Monday. And again, grab the course, comment star, and comment info if you want to chat and see how we can help you out. Take care. Bye-bye.